Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego. It's Saturday, January 10th, 2026, and it's almost 7 p.m. Central Time, not 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm starting 1 hour later today, and I apologize for the 1 hour delay, but I am here, and Karina is resting up with her friend who is from Puerto Rico so they can have their chat together, all their friends. She's having her Latina friendship reunion with all her Latina friends so that she can speak Spanish and hang out with her friends, which is good. And I can do the live stream. This is your K1 visa channel, your green card channel, your spousal visa channel. I give you all this free information. I got 13 years experience processing green cards and K1 visas. 13 years is a long time. I'm helping people every day get this thing done with as minimal cost as possible, other than the visa fees, etc., which go to the U.S. government, actually to USCIS, not so much the U.S. government. I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you legal advice. I don't work for USCIS, but I'm here to help you, pull you over the finish line and get you the green card and the K1 visa. Okay? If you are from one of those countries that have been placed on the I don't like list by the Trump administration, try to relax, okay? Because there are class action lawsuits right now being filed against the administration for this unnecessary discriminatory attack on the families of American citizens. Maru, hello, Diego and Karina. Maru, what's going on? How is your fiance? I'm sure he's doing good over there in Cameroon. You're in the year you get your NOA2 letter. It's 2026, and this year, okay, probably the next month or so, you'll get notification from the service center who processed your K1 visa that your K1 visa has been approved. Not much longer, okay? If you can hang in there, be patient, and you will get good news very soon. Wait patiently, waiting and waiting and waiting. But if you're patient, you will be just fine, and everything's going to work out. Okay? Trust me on that one. You're going to be just fine. You submitted a fantastic K1 visa application. I went over it very carefully. I reviewed it very carefully. You made zero mistakes. You submitted excellent photos, and you put together a very good application. So I've got no doubt that soon you will have your K1 visa approved. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be waiting for the, once you get your NOA2 letter, you're going to then wait for the USCIS Service Center to ship your K1 visa application to the National Visa Center in New Hampshire, whereupon they will review it. They will go over it a second time, make sure there's no mistakes. If there's no mistakes in it, which I know there isn't, they will then wait for the U.S. Embassy in Cameroon to get unbusy, and then they will ship your K1 visa application to Cameroon. And then you're going to get notification from the MVC and also from the embassy in emails, okay? But right now you're waiting for your NOA2 letter. NOA2, what is NOA2? What does that mean? It's Notice of Action Letter. Number 2. Notice of Action Letter 2. The NOA1 letter was your first letter that you got, saying that you mailed your K1 visa application to Louisville, Texas. They got it. They looked it over. They cashed the check, which they don't take checks now anymore. Your immigration no longer accept checks, paper checks, or money orders. You have to fill out what's known as a G1650. Is the new paper. It's the new form for payments. That's, you can also use the G1450, I believe it is, but that's for the credit card. I don't recommend you use that. So when you get ready to pay for your green card, for your beneficiary's green card, when he gets to the United States, I recommend you use Form G1650, which is basically immigration is going to take the payment out of your checking account, okay, or your savings account. Don't use your credit card to pay for any immigration fees. Use your checking or your savings account. You get the Form 1650, you fill it out, you then go to the bank, You ask your bank, please don't block this transaction because it is payment for my K1 visa, it's payment for my green card or my 10-year green card or renewing a 10-year green card, whatever the case may be, okay? You must notify your bank. I recommend you go in person with the form so they can see it and say, look, here's a form I'm going to be sending to immigration to pay for my immigration benefits. Don't block the transaction. And then the bank will make a note in their computer, and then everything will go smoothly for you. Remember, immigration no longer accept checks or money orders. Okay, it's done. Cashier's checks, regular bank checks, personal checks, it's all toast. It's all history. If you are a green card holder and you are sending money to to your home country that you started from, let's suppose you're a green card holder and you want to send some money to, I don't know, let's say Nigeria or the United Arab Emirates or somewhere like that, using Western Union or money orders. You're going to get charged a 1% surcharge tax, or whatever you want to call it, reciprocation tax. So if you are a green card holder and you are going to be sending money to the country where you originated from overseas, you will be hit with a 1% tax. So the secret to overcome that is to have your American citizen sponsor send the money in his or her name to your family in wherever country that may be. So then that way he doesn't get taxed. Well, that's the way you do it. Okay? The U.S. government is trying to make it as difficult as possible for immigrants. Okay? Just whether it's processing green cards, filling out K1 visas. So make sure you submit an excellent application with zero mistakes. Zero mistakes. I'm going to type it right here. Okay? Zero mistakes in the application, especially when it comes down to the 2-year green card and you're filling out the 864. The 864. Okay? The 864 is the affidavit of support. Don't make any mistakes on that paperwork. If you do, your green card will be denied. So make sure you know how to fill out the family size. Make sure you don't forget to sign the paperwork. Make sure you include your last tax return, your 1099, your W-2, your 1040. If you can get tax transcripts, even better. But when you go to file the conditions off of a 2-year green card, you're going to apply for a 10-year green card. You must include your last tax return, okay? At least 2 at a minimum. And you must be filing jointly. Jointly. I can't spell it. There you go. That's how you do it. You're going to file jointly tax returns. If you're going to apply for U.S. citizenship with Form N-400, okay, you must make sure that you have evidence that you have maintained continuous residency in the United States. What do I mean by maintain continuous residency? What I mean is you don't take off on vacation somewhere for 2 months. You know, you miss grandma in Colombia, so you don't fly to Colombia for 2 or 3 months to hang out with grandma because you miss her. Immigration will not look kindly upon that because they may think that you have mindset to abandon your green card, or you're using the green card just as a tourist visa to travel back and forth in. When you come to the United States and you marry your American citizen fiance, you become a permanent resident of this country. Immigration want to see that you are a permanent resident of this country, which means you live here permanently, you work here, you file taxes together, jointly. You don't file separate tax returns. If you do, you're going to have issues with immigration. They're going to give you a hard time. You may not even get approved for U.S. citizenship. It could happen. So make sure that you are staying out of trouble with the police, filing joint tax returns, filing paperwork correctly without mistakes, etc., etc. Because if you make mistakes, you're going to have problems. There is no tolerance right now for paperwork errors. Immigration is just going to, terminate your green card application. So When you file for the 2-year green card, make sure you submit a fantastic application, a fantastic paperwork evidence. When you fill out the Form 485, make sure you don't make any mistakes. When you fill out the 864, when you include a copy of your marriage certificate to your U.S. citizen sponsor, make sure it is a certified copy from the courthouse, not a copy from Office Depot or the public library. If you include divorce decrees in your application for a 2-year or a 10-year green card, they have to be certified copies from the courthouse, not Office Depot copies. Immigration won't accept a copy. Suppose you got your divorce decree right here in your hands, right here, and you got a scanner, like I have a scanner right here. I cannot make a copy of let's say a divorce decree on my scanner. I would have to go to the courthouse and get a certified copy that's been stamped and signed by the clerk of the court. And then I will staple a business card from the clerk of the court in the bottom left-hand corner of the divorce decree or the death decree. And that includes the marriage certificate. When we filed for Karina's 2-year green card, my beautiful wife, Karina from Venezuela, I included a certified wet ink copy of the marriage certificate from the courthouse. Okay? So the clerk of the court printed a copy of our marriage certificate, certified it, and signed it, and that's what we included in the 2-year green card application. When you are going to your scary K-1 visa interviews overseas, in whatever country it is, Colombia, Philippines, India, Pakistan, Kenya, I don't care what country it is you live in, when you go to your K-1 visa interview at the U.S. Embassy or consulate, if your American citizen sponsor has been divorced in the past, you must bring with you to your K-1 visa interview a certified courthouse copy of the divorce decree, not a copy from Office Depot. It must be a wet ink certified copy. Okay? And don't forget to repeat the letters of intent to get married. When you file for your K-1 visa, both of you are going to write letters of intent to get married. Excuse me, I've got allergies today. One from the sponsor, one from the beneficiary. My beautiful wife, Karina, she wrote her letter of intent to get married in Spanish, okay, because she doesn't speak English. In Colombia, she wrote it in Colombia. She then printed it off the printer. Then I got it translated into English, but it wasn't necessary in Colombia. It's not required to translate the document, but I did it anyway. And then 2 weeks before the visa interview, we redid our letters of intent to get married, Karina in Spanish, mine in English, signed them. And then they were brought to the visa interview in Bogota. The second letter of intent to get married. So you're going to write 2 letters of intent to get married, one from the sponsor, one from the beneficiary, and then you're going to repeat it for the visa interview. If you are from Brazil, you are going to be required to sign a letter of singleness in front of the consular officer at your K-1 visa interview in, I believe the embassy is in Rio de Janeiro. It's in Rio de Janeiro. I believe that's where the embassy is in Brazil. But if you live in Brazil, if you are a beneficiary from Brazil, you must have at least 9 to 10 months of time left on your passport, your Brazilian passport, and you must sign a letter of singleness. I'm going to say it in English. I'm not going to say it in Spanish, because it's going to be in Portuguese, actually. But you're going to sign that in front of the consular officer to verify that you didn't get married to your American citizen sponsor while waiting for the K-1. Do you understand what I'm saying? But that applies only to Brazil, okay? And Francois Livingston, good evening, Diego and Karina. This is a surprise. Well, I'm 1 hour late. It's good to see you, Francois. Normally, I start the live stream at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, okay? But I'm starting at 7 p.m. I started 1 hour late. Sorry about that, but sometimes I cannot always stop what I'm doing and do a live stream. But I'm pretty good so far, right? Over the last couple of years, I've been pretty consistent of making the live streams on time. But sometimes I take a day off. Sometimes I'm an hour late. But it's very rare that I'm late to do a live stream, because my job here is to get you guys through this process. I want you to get your K-1 visas approved. I want you to get your green cards approved. And I have the knowledge to do it. You don't need an immigration attorney, okay, to file a K-1 visa. You don't need an immigration attorney to file for a 2-year green card or a 10-year green card, lift the conditions, okay? You don't. Now, if you are from one of those countries that's on the I don't like you list by the Trump administration, the blocked list, okay, relax, don't panic. If you are in this country with a 2-year green card and you are getting a little nervous thinking you won't be able to apply for your 10-year green card, yes, you can. You can file for your 10-year green card. Karina, my beautiful wife, is from Venezuela. She's going to be filing with me as a joint couple for her 10-year green card. And then she's going to receive a letter back from immigration that extends her 2-year green card by 4 years. So her 2-year green card will then be extended to June 27th, 2030. 2030. Trump isn't even going to be president in June of 2030. Okay? So all this I don't like you stuff where the White House is blocking people from getting adjudicated, you must still file for your 10-year green card if you're from one of those countries. And you will still get a letter of extension for your 2-year green card. You will still be given 4 more years. And in those 4 years, there's going to be a lot of things going to happen. For one thing, the Congress is probably going to change. When members of Congress start supporting these decisions that are affecting families of American citizens, those politicians are going to get terminated and they're going to lose their seats in Congress, and they're going to be replaced by people that support legal immigration. It doesn't matter what country you're from. If you've been vetted properly, then there should be no concern. My wife, Karina, from Venezuela, was vetted properly. She was checked out by the Colombian security police. She was checked out by the Venezuelan security police. She was investigated by Interpol. She was checked out by the FBI. So she's perfectly good, 0 criminal record, nothing. So if immigration want to jag me around with her 10-year green card, well, they're going to lose that battle right off the bat. Because when you are a green card holder, you have rights when you get here, as long as you are staying within status in regards to not breaking any laws. So when you get your 2-year green card, stay out of trouble. Don't even get a freaking don't even get a speeding ticket. Okay? No speeding tickets. Don't do anything stupid that's going to get you in front of a judge in the U.S. court system, because that's putting your green card in jeopardy. Then if you do get in trouble, then you're going to have to then you're going to have to find an immigration attorney. Then you're going to have to find a civil attorney or a criminal law attorney. It's going to be very expensive. And even after you do all that, you may not be able to keep your green card. So stay out of trouble. But if you are here on a 2-year green card and you are from, let's say, Venezuela, and you're getting close to filing for your 10-year green card, go ahead and file for your 10-year green card. Immigration will send you a letter of extension automatically. I don't care what country you're from, Sierra Leone, Niger, Cuba, Venezuela, the countries that the Trump administration don't like for some reason. But they are jacking around not just with people from those countries, but with American citizens too, like me. And I don't take too kindly to that. Okay, Ash Kelly, can I get a waiver after K-1 visa denied for overstaying a tourist visa? You can apply for a waiver, absolutely. But if you got a K-1 visa denied because you overstayed a tourist visa, that's the norm right now. If you are overstaying tourist visas, and you're in the middle of it, and you're getting adjudicated for a green card or a K-1, it's going to be denied automatic. Then you're going to have to file for a waiver, which you can do with an explanation as to why you overstayed the tourist visa. But it's going to cost you money. You're eligible for the waiver. Why wouldn't you be eligible for the waiver? It's not a criminal offense to overstay your tourist visa. Okay? It's not a criminal offense. It's not. It's you've overstayed the visa. You just got to come up with a reason why. What was the reason why? You can get look, in a case like yours, This would be when you want to get an immigration attorney to take a look at your case. Now, I'm not an immigration attorney, okay? I don't give you legal advice. But you can get a waiver, okay? But what I would do is pay an immigration attorney a consult fee, have him look at your case or have her look at your case and see what he or she says. But my advice to you is to ask for the waiver, okay? Or reapply for the K-1 visa. Redo it. Or get married to your American citizen sponsor in your home country and have her file or him file for a spousal visa. And then you can make an explanation. You can get married and then file for a spousal visa and write a letter of explanation in the application why you overstayed your tourist visa. You said, Ash Kelly, I made a serious mistake and I just want to correct that mistake and move forward with my immigration process, the legal and right way to respect American laws. I believe I have a strong case to have my waiver approved. Well, yeah, you make a mistake. There are so many people make the same mistake. They don't realize in the past, if you overstayed your tourist visa, it wasn't a big deal. It really was. Going back 40 years, it's only since Trump became president that it's become a problem, okay? Now, I'm not saying Trump's at fault because he's just enforcing the law that's on the books, that's been on the books forever, but it's never been enforced, okay? Immigration hasn't been enforcing it. Trump didn't make the law, he's just enforcing the law. That's all he's doing, and I respect that. Ash Kelly, I overstayed more than a year, so it will trigger a 10-year ban. That's correct. The only thing that will save me is a waiver approval. Yeah, you got hit with a 10-year ban because you overstayed more than a year. If you overstayed, like say, a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks, that's the most common occurrence. But if you overstayed your tourist visa by a year plus, it's an automatic 10-year ban. So you're going to have to apply for a waiver and explain why you overstayed such a long time. You could say you were with your American citizen sponsor. You didn't want to be separated from him or him, depending on however the case may be with whoever's watching the video, whoever watches the live stream. But if you cannot overstay a tourist visa, you can't do that. But you qualify for a waiver, okay? It's not like you snuck in the country illegally, like an illegal immigrant. You came in legally and then just overstayed. So there's a difference between coming here legally and overstaying, and compared to sneaking across the border and being an illegal immigrant. Then that's the problem. That's an even bigger problem. The only thing that will save you is a waiver. Well, if you overstayed more than a year, no, you got to justify it. You have to explain what happened. Ash Kelly, you said, I'm thinking to not make any justifications. Just take accountability and show rehabilitation and respect for immigration laws. I'm just going to be direct. Just explain what happened. Why did you overstay? You got to explain it. You have to write a letter of explanation. Okay? Explain what happened. You got to explain what happened. Well, you were so happy to be with your fiance, you just lost track of time, and it wasn't your intention to break any laws. You didn't realize it was illegal to do that. You thought it was, it could be overcome. You can explain that you didn't understand the laws of the United States, and that you apologized and you just didn't know. Just explain what happened, and then immigration will look at it and either approve or deny the waiver. But you could also marry your American citizen sponsor and file for a spousal visa and include the waiver in the spousal visa application. You could do that. But if you overstayed a year, then the best bet for you, that's when you really need to get an immigration attorney to take a look at your case. Okay? See what the immigration attorney says. My opinion is you're going to get the waiver as long as you can explain what happened. Give a good explanation. But an immigration attorney will be able to give you better legal advice. I can't give you legal advice. But here's the lesson. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. And it's unfortunate, but the laws that are on the books right now are being enforced by USCIS because of the Trump administration is enforcing them. In the past, we're turning a blind eye to a lot of stuff. Oh, okay, no problem. Oh, you came in on a tourist visa, you married your American citizen sponsor, you overstayed your visa, waiting for the green card. Okay, we'll give you a break. Those days are over with. I already applied for my K-1, just trying to get ahead of my case. So you applied for your K-1 visa and you said it was denied. Is that true? Or you haven't received any notification from immigration yet? Have you received a letter of an NOID, a notice of intent to deny your case? Has immigration sent you a letter, notice of intent to deny to you? Or did they send you nothing yet? How do you know that they're going to deny your case? How do you know? You're back in your home country, right? You're in your home country, right? You're back in your home country. You're back home. Cornell Rivers. Hello, Cornell. How is Cornell? What's going on? We got Francois, member. Francois is a member of the channel. Cornell's a member. Maru's a channel member. Ash Kelly. It's NTO denied. It's NTO denied as yet. We just applied a few weeks ago. We have only received a receipt number, knowing that I overstayed for more than a year was detained and offered VD and came back to the Bahamas. Realizing that I triggered the 10-year ban, and embassy officers cannot overlook that, it will trigger the 10-year ban. Okay, but so you got a 10-year ban on tourist visas. You're going to be barred coming to the United States as a tourist. You're not applying for a tourist visa. You are being in the middle of a process for a K-1 fiance visa. There's a difference between a tourist visa and a K-1 fiance visa. There's a big difference. Okay? The fiance visa, K-1, is commenced by the American citizen sponsor, not by the beneficiary. The tourist visa is started by a person in a foreign country that wants to come here. Hey, that's why you're on this channel, right? I'm giving you all this information so you're not having a heart attack. If you've applied for a K-1 visa with your American citizen sponsor and you overstayed your visa, you are now back in your home country. The K-1 visa's got nothing to do with a tourist visa. When you go to fill out the DS-160, they're going to ask you, have you ever been detained or whatever, and you're going to explain it on the DS-160. You will explain what happened. Okay? But it doesn't mean you're going to get denied. All right? Pay attention, class. Cornell Rivers, doing good, waiting on interview appointment date. Yeah, you're doing great, Cornell. Excellent. And to those folks who are members of the channel, Kareen and I, we thank you for your support of the channel. And also, just as a member, don't forget, you have my cell number, you have my email address. You can call me, text me, email me if you need any help with your application. If you need me to help you go over your K-1 visa package or your 2-year green card application or your 10-year green card application, you can screenshot everything to me, and I can go over your paperwork for you to make sure you don't make any dumb mistakes. That's what I do. I stop the mistakes from happening before they happen so you don't get caught up in any problems. Ash Kelly is laughing. Even with the 10-year bar, I can still get my visa. It's a good possibility. According to immigration lawyers I consult with, they are most concerned that I will need a waiver. Yes, you're going to need a waiver. I'm prepared to do whatever is necessary to get my life back. Well, if you've spoken to an immigration lawyer and you've talked to Diego, who is the resident expert on K-1 visas, I am the expert in this. I'm the person that actually brought somebody to the United States from Venezuela successfully. Okay? And my first wife was from Colombia. So I've been through this K-1 visa process twice. And I'm not planning on going through it a third time. Karina is going to be with me for the rest of our lives. She is my soulmate, but I got 13 years experience doing this. I've endured so much with immigration, with embassies and spousal visas and K-1 visas. I've been through I've waded across the Rio. Okay. And I've got my beautiful wife, Karina, has her 2-year green card, and it expires on June 27th of this year. And then President Trump decided he didn't like people from Venezuela, so he put a block on 10-year green cards for people from Venezuela. Well, when my wife files with me for her 10-year green card, she's going to get a letter of extension that's for 4 years. And Trump's not going to be president in 4 years. So I really couldn't give a rat's butt what he does, trying to, interfere with the families of American citizens just because he doesn't like the country they're from, because of security. Well, I understand security, but these people in America on 2-year green cards have already been vetted. They've already been through the security checks by the FBI and the U.S. embassies. So basically what he's doing is he's just creating more work for immigration. Now, I'm not against protecting our country from security checks. I'm all in. But you don't do it to families of American citizens who are green card holders. You don't do that, because he's going to lose in the courthouse. The federal judges are going to throw this crap out. Ash Kelly, good for you guys, man. Yeah, I brought my wife here. My first wife was from Colombia, and she didn't like in America. She didn't like Walmart. She didn't want to learn to drive. She didn't like this. She didn't like that. She didn't like the weather. She was scared of hurricanes. She didn't even like the clothes that Walmart sold or the malls or whatever. So I took her back home to Colombia and divorced her and said, well, I brought her back to her family and said, here's your family. You have a nice life in Colombia. I came back to America and I divorced her. And then I waited for years. And then I met my beautiful wife, Karina, who was living in Colombia. And because I was familiar with Colombia, I know Colombia like just as well as I know the United States. You can drop me off in Bogota, Colombia, and I can find my way anywhere. So I was in Bogota, Colombia, where I met Karina. She was the manager of ice cream stores. And we dated each other for almost 3 years. And I explained to her about the lady from Colombia, and she understood that it didn't work out. And I tell you, I'm so blessed to have her. And then her passport expired, so she had to return to Venezuela to get a new passport, a 10-year passport. So I flew with her from Bogota to Cucuta. She went to Venezuela. I was on the border of Venezuela in Colombia, waiting for her to get her passport renewed. She came back to the hotel. She had her Venezuelan passport renewed for 10 years. And then by that time, we got her K-1 visa interview set up. And she went to the K-1 visa interview in Bogota, Colombia. She got her approval for the K-1. But first, she had to get an Interpol security check done on her because she's from Venezuela, who had been living in Colombia for almost 6 years. I've been through this immigration process, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, like you would not believe. I know that I should write a book on how to do this. Okay. And when I was in Bogota, Colombia, living with Karina, I lived there with her for almost 3 years. It was interesting. I got to live in Colombia, and I really enjoyed that experience. But now Karina made it to the United States. She got everything done. She got approved. Well, I got approved because I put her K-1 visa package together, and it was an excellent package of it. It was like 4 books of stuff. And then she gets close to filing for her 10-year green card, and then all of a sudden they don't like Venezuelans in the White House. Well, you know what? That's why we have immigration attorneys, to overcome those kind of problems. When politicians decide they don't like a certain group of people, we have immigration attorneys that can go in there and block their BS. Maru, when I get my NOA2 letter, I will be reaching out to you if I have a question on the next step. Well, that's why I'm here, Maru. You're going to get the NOA2 letter, probably the latest at be the end of February. So this month or next month, you'll get the NOA2 letter. And you're good. And I'm here for you, Maru. You can call me, text me, email me, come on the live stream, and I'm here to help you. That's what I'm going to do. So you don't make any mistakes at the next level. Okay? Ask Kelly, how much does it cost for a typical waiver? I don't know. How long does it take? Well, you don't need to do the waiver just yet. What you need to do is wait for the NOA-2 letter. Wait till you get your K-1 visa approved, okay? And then when you get the K-1 visa approved, then you're going to start the process for the visa interview at the embassy. Then when you get that to that K-1 FTP email, which is the fiance email, it's the fiance in transport. Your paperwork's being sent from the MVC in New Hampshire to the embassy. What country are you talking about here? I'm trying to remember. What country was it? The Bahamas? Was it the Bahamas? That's pretty close to the United States, right? You said you're from the Bahamas? Not the Virgin Islands, right? The Bahamas. I think, I'm trying to remember. That's not Bermuda. So Bermuda, yeah, the Bahamas. Okay. So the Bahamas is close to the United States. So you could write a letter and say, you thought the Bahamas was part of the United States, so that way you weren't even concerned about being an overstay. I don't know. If it was me, if I was in the Bahamas, I'm pretty sure, it's part of the United States in my mind. You could say that was the reason. You didn't realize it was a separate country that was not connected to the United States, like Puerto Rico or Guam. Like Guam is in the Marianas Islands, and they're part of the United States. Puerto Rico in the Caribbean is part of the United States. Maybe you could say you thought the Bahamas was the same status as Puerto Rico. Write that in the waiver, because you're going to need a waiver. But when you get your NOA-2 letter, when you get it, then you get an immigration attorney to help you with the waiver. I said, because of my captain's license, I was misled to believe I could overstay and receive a state ID, but I don't want to trigger misrepresentation. No, if that's what you believe, then that's what you think. It's not misrepresentation. That's something you think. I always thought the Bahamas was part of the United States until I joined the Navy. When I joined the U.S. Navy, I learned it wasn't, but I thought the Bahamas was part of the USA. It's such a close country to us that it's not a massive. Yeah, I mean, you're not misrepresenting. I thought the Bahamas was part of the USA for years when I was, in high school. When I joined the Navy, I learned that it's not. So if it would be a mistake on your part, but it's not going to be a mistake that's going to cost you your K-1 visa. So long as you you get an immigration attorney to help you, write up a waiver with the explanation, and then the waiver, you want to get that in ready for the K-1 visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in the Bahamas. Because when you go to your K-1 visa interview in the Bahamas, you're going to have to fill out a DS-160, Department of State Form 160, and on that DS-160, you have to say, yes, you overstayed on your tourist visa, and then you give an explanation, and you are going to have the waiver ready to go for your K-1 visa interview. The waiver is going to be in your hand. So when you go to the K-1 visa interview, your immigration attorney would have already written up the waiver for you, okay? And then when the immigration officer says, Ash Kelly, I see on your DS-160 that you had a problem with your tourist visa, you overstayed, and then you say they're going to say you're going to need a waiver to overcome that, and then you're going to say, here's my waiver, here it is, I've already got it ready to go, with an explanation as to what happened, and then the immigration officer is going to look at it and make a decision on your case. Okay? Would I be able to do this myself and hand in my waiver upon rejection? You can fill out the waiver yourself, yeah, if you want to. You can fill out the waiver. Go into USCIS, .gov/forms, and then look for waiver. Look for waiver on overstay, or do that. You could do that. Go into Google and Google waiver overstay tourist visa. Go into Google and look for waiver for tourist overstay visa. Go in there and do that. And then you can figure out how to fill out the waiver. But you want to have that waiver in your hand when you go to your K-1 visa interview. So when the immigration officer says you're going to need a waiver because you had an issue with your tourist visa, you can present it to the immigration officer right then. Here it is. Here's my waiver. And then the immigration officer is going to take it. They're going to put you on an immigration hold while they review the waiver and then give you a decision. And if you write up a really good waiver excuse, you'll get your freaking visa. Joel and Natty. Hi, Diego and Karina. Joel and Natty. Did you change your name from your previous YouTube name? Good to see you, Joel and Natty. No, you didn't change your name. Good. You must be what? You haven't been online for a while. Good to see you back online. I got Mountain Dew salutes, but this is the little can of Mountain Dew salutes right here. And I got the MAGA Pixie Dots ready to go. And if you have any questions, that's why I'm here. Ash Kelly, according to ChatGPT, waivers can take up to 1.5 years. Well, it depends on what the waiver is. You're in a K-1 visa application. Okay? You're not trying to get another tourist visa. You're not asking for a tourist visa to come back to the United States with a 10-year ban. You're asking to get married to an American citizen. Okay? There's a difference. Joel and Natty. I didn't change my name. It was Ennad Joel. There you go. Just rearranged it to American style. First name before last name. Gotcha. There, that's a good. I'll give you a Mountain Dew salute. There you go. My memory's pretty good. I don't forget stuff. And I try to remember what countries you guys' fiancés are living in so that I can help you. Some countries, some embassies, U.S. embassies are faster than other embassies. Now, what I like about the fact that Venezuela no longer has a communist dictator running their country, and he's now in a nice ice-cold prison cell in New York City, the U.S. Embassy in Caracas, Venezuela, the State Department is looking at reopening the embassy in Venezuela, which means that the United States and Venezuela are going to restore diplomatic ties, which is good. Hopefully that will turn around where the Venezuelan country of Venezuela is no longer on that block list of countries. Pause list, block list, they're paused. They're a partial pause, whatever it is. That would be good news. And I've been saying that in the live streams over the last year. Once the communist dictator of Venezuela is no longer in Venezuela, he's now in prison in the United States, we can restore diplomatic ties with the Venezuelan government and then wait for new elections to take place, which means Venezuela's got an opportunity to become free from this communist garbage. And then when the embassy reopens in Venezuela, if you are from Venezuela, you do not have to keep flying to Bogota, Colombia for your K-1 visa interviews or your spousal visa interviews. You can do it at the embassy in Caracas. We spent a lot of money putting that embassy together. But what the U.S. government has to do is they have to go into the embassy that has been abandoned since 2019, I think, and check it for infrastructure damage. Check it for in case the communists put any bugs in there or listening devices, stuff like that. And then how much they need to get an estimate on how much it's going to cost to restore and refurbish the U.S. embassy in Caracas, Venezuela. I'm sure we can use some of that Venezuelan oil money to do that. Okay, so once we get the U.S. embassy reopened in Venezuela and we normalize relations with Venezuela, then it's going to be a lot easier for Venezuelans to get their K-1 visas adjudicated. I mean, I'm just not picking on Venezuela because that's because my wife is from Venezuela. She's Venezuelan. She was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela. But she left Venezuela in 2018 and relocated to Colombia because of the communist dictator. She couldn't stand living under communism. So she moved to Colombia. So, let's pray for those people. That's all I can say. They got a good opportunity now, thanks to Trump, and actually thanks to the U.S. military. Trump gave the order, but the U.S. military did the heavy lifting and liberated Venezuela from that dictator. But there's a lot of work still to be done for the Venezuelan government. There's still bad people in the Venezuelan government that need to be addressed, I guess would be the word. Okay? But I've been saying for a long time, once Venezuela is liberated from communism, and then the oil money starts to flow back into Venezuela, the country will be able to recover. And that's what that country, I remember Venezuela back in the 70s, a beautiful country, the richest nation in South America. It ran like a well-oiled machine. Okay, but when the Chavez and Maduro, when those communists got in there, they destroyed the economy, they destroyed the currency, and they put a boot on the neck of any opposition. That's how dictators work. That's what that's how they do business in North America. In North Korea, the government of North Korea is a tyrannical dictatorship. Okay, so I'm just glad that there are steps positive for Venezuela right now. And next maybe Cuba, because even though now Cuba got a lot of its oil from Venezuela, so the economy of Cuba was being propped up by Venezuela, but Mexico props up the Cuban economy also. So just because Venezuela's out of the picture doesn't mean communist Cuba is going to fall on its head, because the Mexican government, which is pro-communist, is going to continue to prop up Cuba. So if Trump really wants to liberate Cuba from communism, he's going to have to do the same thing in Cuba that he did in Venezuela and start by blocking oil imports into Cuba. Once the United States Navy stops oil entering Cuba, then the next step would be to block Russian oil entering Cuba. Then the economy of Cuba is going to fall flat on its face, and they're going to have an opportunity to be free there. Get the communists out and put somebody in there with common sense that knows how to run a capitalist country. Cuba used to be a beautiful place in the 50s. Beautiful, tourists, rich, fantastic place to go for vacation. And then communists came in and destroyed it. So let's see what happens with Cuba. But in order for Cuba to be free from communism, the Mexican government and the Russian Federation will have to be stopped from importing oil to that country. Okay? That's the way it's going to work. President Trump said Cuba may be next without firing a shot. Well, that may be true. But all the while Cuba is getting financial support from Mexico and the Russian Federation, that country is going to continue to be a tyrannical toilet basin for the people that live there. So, just from my strategic studies, I spent 20 years in the Navy, and I studied strategically some of these countries and how they operate and how they stay afloat. North Korea stays afloat because of communist China. If communist China would stop helping North Korea, the North Korean economy would collapse. Okay? So the only reason North Korea exists is because of communist China. And yet we do business with communist China. Why do we buy stuff from China? Because when we buy stuff from China, they turn around and take that money and they give it to the Chinese military, who then circle Taiwan in there and go to South Africa for a port visit. Why do we buy stuff from China? I don't get it. We are helping China stay in business, which is then in turn helping North Korea stay in business, which then builds weapons of mass destruction that they want to use against us. That's amazing, isn't it? So when you go into Walmart and you're looking to buy something, see if you can buy it from a country other than frickin' China. But with that said, what questions do you guys have on immigration? I helped Ash Kelly. I think you're going to be all right, Ash Kelly. Get that waiver filled out, but don't worry about it until you get, because forms expire. Addition dates go out of date. When you fill out that waiver, Ash Kelly, for your overstay on your tourist visa, you must make sure you are using the correct edition of the waiver form. What I recommend everybody do is, when you're getting ready to file for a K-1 visa application on USCIS form I-129F, fill out that paperwork about a week before you're going to mail off the application. So you're using the correct edition date. When I file jointly with Karina for her 10-year green card, we're going to fill out the 751 a few days before we mail off her package, because that way we'll be guaranteed to be using the most correct edition date of that form, 751. And we're going to pay for her 10-year green card using form G1650. And before then we're going to go to the bank with that G1650 and show it to them and say, this is the form we're going to use to pay for my wife's green card. Make sure you don't block any transactions coming out of USCIS or immigration. And the bank's going to go in their computer and they're going to put in a note that this account number is okay. It's okay for USCIS to take money out of my checking account. You got to cover every base now. Immigration is getting stricter and stricter, okay? But they're trying to speed up the process and they're trying to streamline the process too at the same time. And we happen to be in the history of immigration, our time right now in 2026, we are in a time where they're trying to streamline everything, where they're trying to get everything automated and to make it quicker, using AI to screen applications, artificial intelligence, okay? So the process is going to speed up. By 2028, 2029, it's going to be a much quicker turnaround time for K1s, 2-year green cards, and 10-year green cards, okay? When you apply for U.S. citizenship, you must be prepared for the following things. Immigration is going to come to your house to make sure you're living at the place you say you're living at. They're going to go to your place of work where you work at to see that you actually work there. They're going to go knock on your neighbor's doors and the neighbor across the street and ask questions about the relationship between you and your foreign national spouse. So if you are applying to become a U.S. citizen effective in 2026, immigration is going to come to your neighborhood and investigate you. They're going to come to your house. They're going to check on your neighbors. They're going to go to your place of work, okay? And they're going to thoroughly investigate the application. They're going to check your make sure you don't have any problems with the law enforcement, like speeding tickets, that you haven't left the country for excessive amounts of time or for multiple vacations. Once you get your 10-year green card, if you can just wait 3 years before and not leave the country for 3 years and apply for U.S. citizenship, that will be much easier for you to get U.S. citizenship if you have never left the United States. Honestly, you can wait 3 years, 3.5 years before you go back to the country you started from, right? And go visit grandma, or go visit your friends, or go visit your favorite restaurant in Dumaguete or Manila or Islamabad or Mumbai or wherever you live. Your favorite things, your families, your friends. If you can possibly wait 3 years before you go back and revisit those places, that's what I recommend you do. So when you go to your U.S. citizenship interview and the immigration officer says, have you been a continual resident of the United States? You can say yes. And then the immigration officer says, have you ever left the United States for any period of time? You can say, no, I've never left the United States. I've been here the whole time. It's going to save you such a big headache at the U.S. citizenship interview. Adam Michael Fellows, what do you think of them getting rid of dual citizenship? Well, they haven't. You can still be a dual citizen. Nothing. They had the U.S. senator. You're talking about the U.S. senator who was originally born in Colombia, came to the United States as a child, became a U.S. citizen. He wrote legislation that wants to abolish dual citizenship. But that has to make it through the Congress of the United States first. Then it has to make it through the US Senate. Then it has to make it to President Trump's desk for signature if it makes it that far. So right now, you're asking me, what do I think of them getting rid of dual citizenship? Well, they haven't. They haven't got rid of dual citizenship. And in my personal opinion and my constitutional studies, I went to Hillsdale College and took constitutional studies. Dual citizenship is not going to be eliminated. It's not going to make it through the Congress. The U.S. Senate's not going to approve that. So what's my opinion of them getting rid of it? They haven't got rid of it. It's still there in place. And it's not going to go away. So my opinion doesn't really matter because it's not going to happen. Dual citizenship is always going to be available to people if they want it. Okay? But we have this one guy who was from Colombia who decided he wants to write legislation to abolish dual citizenship. Well, maybe he should use his time that we taxpayers are paying him and write legislation like to lower taxes or to eliminate some of the barriers that are blocking companies from expanding and creating jobs instead of doing that, because it's not going to make it through the Congress. It won't make it through the Senate confirmation. It's not going to happen. So don't even worry about it. Forget, just put it to the back of your head, okay? Because nothing's going to happen. Bud S1, hello Diego. How are you doing today? Bud S1, I'm doing fantastic. I'm having a great day. I had a great day with Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela. She right now she's with her friends, her Latina friends. She's got a friend from the Dominican Republic. She's got a friend from Mexico. She's got a friend from Puerto Rico. And they're all going to get in a huddle and speak Spanish together. Okay? Which is going to be great for Karina because I'm getting her to speak English all day. And English, she's speaking Spanish. She's getting this opportunity to go hang out with her Latina friends, and I'm happy for her. So she's going to do great. And so we're doing good. We had a good day. What did we do today? We did some things today. We went to Walmart and I picked up some bacon and some milk. We went and ate. Where did we go? We went to Crystal for breakfast. We had the 3-egg. We had the 3-egg breakfast special from Crystal. It was pretty inexpensive, $15 for two of us to get a 3-egg breakfast. And then I went to check on mail at our PO box, and everything's good. And right now I've been talking for almost an hour, and you guys need to throw some questions at me. Give me some immigration questions. What's pressing you on your mind right now? Do you have any concerns? Like Ash Kelly was worried about the 10-year ban on the tourist visa. It's a tourist visa. Just get the waiver filled out. Explain that you had no idea that it was a mistake, that you had no clue that you were breaking immigration laws, and you apologize. And then they'll look at it from there at the K-1 visa interview. Bud S1, is there a problem if my wife goes back home for a medical procedure? Does she have a green card? She got her green card, right? Is it a 2-year green card or is it a 10-year green card? And why does she have to go back to, isn't she from Thailand? Where is she from, Thailand? Which country? Remind me. I think she's from Thailand. Why does she have to go back to her country? Her home country is the United States. When you become a legal permanent resident, your country of residency is now the United States. Your home country is America. So her former country, you want her to go back to her former country for a medical procedure. Why not get it done in the United States? Why does she have to leave the United States to get this done? I think if I remember, she's from Thailand, right? Is it? I mean, I can understand if it's cheaper, if there's a cost issue involved, because I got all my dental work done in Colombia. And then I came to the United States. I had to get a bit more dental work done, and they was trying to just rip me off, man. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for stuff I can get done in Colombia for a couple of $100. So I had to fire my dentist for the second time. So right now, I'm just waiting for Karina, when she becomes a U.S. citizen, which she will. She'll become a citizen of this country. I don't care what Trump executive orders he signed. I couldn't give a rat's ass whatever he signed, because the Congress controls that, and immigration attorneys are going to knock him over the head with all their litigation. So I'm not worried about what Trump says about this country or that country, because basically I just don't think he likes anybody. Just my opinion. And his wife's from Slovakia, if I remember. I think she came in on a green card, a work permit, and he's going after immigrants. I'm like, come on, Trump, get with the program. Yeah, she does. She has her 2-year green card. You don't want to leave the country on a 2-year green card. Don't leave the country on a 2-year green card. The doctor has to correct what they did wrong. Okay, well, can the doctor correct what they did wrong in Thailand here? Can't she get it done here in the United States? Why does she have to leave the country? Yeah, she's from Thailand, I remember. Get it done in the United States. You don't want to be traveling right now on a 2-year green card. I don't care what country you're from. If you don't want to do that, I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm not giving you legal advice. My opinion is, why would she go back to the doctor that messed her up in the first place? Why not get it done here? Go to the doctor in the United States, explain what happened, and get it fixed correctly. Because if apparently the doctor in Thailand screwed it all up. So why are you going to go back there and spend the amount of money that you spend on plane tickets to go to Thailand is going to be just as more economical to get the freaking procedure done here in America. It's not cheap flying to Bangkok, round trip. And you're taking a risk flying on a 2-year green card right now with this current administration. I don't trust this administration as far as I can throw it in regards to immigration, because they don't like immigrants. Okay? Now, Trump is doing a fantastic job with our economy, with Venezuela. I mean, he's doing a great job overall, but he doesn't like immigrants for some reason. He's trying to kick everybody out here with any excuse. Okay? Now, I don't agree with that, but I agree with most everything else he's doing other than that. So I have to agree to disagree. So my recommendation is, whatever it is your wife needs done medically, get it done in the United States. I don't care if it's a different doctor. The amount of money you're going to spend on plane tickets round trip to go to Thailand is going to be just as that would cover that. Do you think they will let her back in? Possibly, but they don't have to. A 2-year green card is a conditional green card. It's just it's conditional. It means they can yank it from her anytime they want. Okay? It's a conditional green card. They can yank it from her. I mean, and leaving the country, what if she goes back to Thailand and she has to stay in Thailand for a couple of months? That's going to be a big deal with immigration, because it is paid for. So the hospital in Thailand is going to pay for her plane tickets to go to Thailand to fix this problem that they created. Get it done, whatever it is, in the United States of America. Stay in the United States of America till you become a U.S. citizen, and then travel overseas. That's just my opinion from what I see on stuff that's going on right now with this administration regarding immigrants. Okay? They are looking for any excuse. I understand that, but she doesn't understand that. Well, you need to get it into her mind that there's a good chance that she may not be able to return back to this country. If let's suppose they do the procedure and it takes longer than normal, and they put her in the hospital, and she's laid up in the hospital for a couple of months. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what if it does? It doesn't make sense. Get it done here. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. You can listen to me, pay attention to what I'm telling you. Understand that I've been doing this for 13 years, and I've been through different presidents, and I've witnessed different I've witnessed the different evolution of immigration. And under this current administration, if you are a green card holder, if they can find an excuse to take it from you, they will find that excuse and they will take it from you. Okay? What if their border patrol says, "Why did you leave the country?" "Well, I had to go take care of a medical procedure in Thailand." And then immigration's going to say, well, the border patrol is going to say, "Why didn't you get it done in the United States?" They're going to want an explanation too. And if they don't like the explanation, they might not let her in the country because she's on a probationary green card. Well, I mean, it's just my opinion, okay? Opinions are a dime a dozen, but I can tell you, if you listen to what I'm telling you, I'm going to save you from a big headache. Brownie RSPS. Oh, hey, it's the best green card channel on YouTube. Hi, Diego. Brownie RSPS. Well, you're going to get a Mountain Dew salute for that. There's a Mountain Dew salute right there. Appreciate it. I tell you, I've been doing this for so long. I started this YouTube channel in the Andes Mountains in Bogota, Colombia. And I've helped so many people. I became famous in Colombia. I was more famous in Colombia than I was in the United States. I was walking down I was at a bus station in Bogota, Colombia with my wife. Then she was my fiance. And a lady was screaming my name, Diego, Diego. It was a Colombian lady. She recognized me from the channel, from the YouTube channel. I'm like, man, I can't even walk around the streets of Bogota. Adam Michael Fellows, I can't wait until my wife becomes a U.S. citizen. It will be the proudest moment for her and for you. Well, let's give you a Mountain Dew salute for that. When you become a U.S. citizen, you won't have to worry about immigration. You won't have to worry about listening to me rant and rave on this YouTube channel. You'll be free people. Brownie RSPS. Diego personally reviewed my I-485. Yes, I did. So I wouldn't get an RFE. And he's the best. Well, appreciate that, Brownie RSPS. Now, Brownie is from the United Kingdom, but that is behind him now. Brownie is now focusing on becoming Americanized. He's going to learn how to spell color without a U. He's going to learn that a line is not a Q, right? You're going to start learning new jargon and American jargon, American ideology, right? You're learning about the American Constitution. You're learning about American history. You're becoming Americanized. You've got an American flag in your front yard or somewhere, right? Become American. You come to this country, you get your green card, start to assimilate. That's what immigration are looking for. But I understand everything you are saying. You have not steered me wrong. I'm never going to send you down the wrong rabbit hole. I am going to protect you, and I'm going to protect your wife from losing her green card. Okay? And if you listen to me, if people pay attention to this class today in particular, don't leave the United States until you become a U.S. citizen. If you miss grandma that much, you can FaceTime her in WhatsApp. You can do Yahoo Messenger FaceTime. You can do Zoom calls. You can do a Zoom call. You don't have to get on a plane and fly to the place that you started. Karina can talk to her family in Venezuela and Colombia and Brazil with WhatsApp FaceTime. Her mom, I know Karina misses her mom. Her mom is in Caracas, Venezuela. Her mom could hear the American helicopters flying over her house when we went in and the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Army arrested Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela. The U.S. Delta Force, whoever it was that went in there. It's not important who went in there. It's important that they did. My wife's brother was texting us when the bombs were going off around his house, saying the U.S. military is going after the communists, and they were all happy. They weren't even scared that there were bombs going off outside of their freaking living room windows, because they knew that the American military is a precision professional organization, and they knew exactly where Maduro was, and they knew exactly what to do to take him out, and they did. I salute the Delta Force, and I don't know if Navy SEALs were involved. If they were, I wouldn't even mention it, but whoever was involved. And it was Maduro got arrested by U.S. Marshals, and the U.S. military just opened the doors. So, I'm not going to steer you wrong on this channel. I don't make mistakes on this channel. Albertine Umanahosa Morasira. I hope I didn't mess up your name. I would like to thank you for your guidance during the process for my K1 visa. That's why I'm here. I got my visa in October. Excellent. And I had my baby. Now I'm going to get his passport on Wednesday, and we moved to the United States in February. Well, MAGA salute for you, Mountain Dew salute, and Albertine Umanahozo Morasira. Make sure your K1 visa doesn't expire. Make sure your medical exam doesn't expire. Your medical exam. What was the date that you got your visa in October, November, December, January, February? You're getting awfully close to your visa expiring. But the time clock started the day you had your medical exam. Listen to me. What was the date of your medical exam? Because it's only good for 6 months. You will not be allowed to enter the United States of America if your medical exam has expired. Even if your K1 visa has not expired, your K1 visa is good for another 4 weeks or 6 weeks. If your medical exam has expired, you will not be allowed to enter the United States. So, check the date of your medical exam and make sure I got my medical exam on the 15th of October. November, December, January, February, March, April. So on the 14th of April, you will be the final day that you can leave your country. That will be it. That would be the longest you could stay there. Let me see. Adam Michael Fellows, when my wife becomes a U.S. citizen, I won't have to worry about any more paperwork with immigration. That's right. You got that right. Brownie RSPS moving to Tennessee in July. Very good. And both me and my wife will notify USCIS the day before we move, moving in with the in-laws for a couple of years to save for a mortgage. But what's good about Tennessee, besides being with your family, is that there's no state income tax. There is no state income tax, Brownie RSPS, in Tennessee. So when you file your taxes, okay, for 2025, let me see here. So you're going to have to file taxes where you are right now, but when you file your 2026 tax return in 2027, you're not going to have to pay any income tax to the state of Tennessee. Okay? I don't pay income tax to the state of Florida. Karina and I, we file our taxes together every year. We only have to pay federal taxes. We don't have to pay any state income tax. The same is going to apply to you, Brownie RSPS. Now you're moving to Tennessee. Tennessee, Texas, Nevada, Florida, and I believe Washington State. Those are the only 5 states in America that you don't have to pay any income tax to the state that you live in. So it's tax friendly. Adam Michael Fellows, my wife has her 2-year green card. Hopefully in 3 years, my wife will be a U.S. citizen. Yeah. Look at the issue date on her 2-year green card, and 3 years from the issue date on her 2-year green card is when you can apply for U.S. citizenship. But don't forget, you must first apply for her 10-year green card. You must first lift the conditions off of the 2-year green card. The senior, Teresa Senior. What happened to Teresa Senior? She sent me a message and deleted it. Brownie RSPS. Wow. Tennessee sounds good. Yeah. No state income tax is amazing. Yeah. We already started filing. Yeah, for 2025. You have to file your taxes for 2025 because it's 2026. But when you file your 2026 taxes, because you're relocating to Tennessee, you're not going to pay any state income tax. And Teresa Senior, what happened? Where's your message to me? What happened? Where did it go? Adam Michael Fellows, is the interview for becoming a U.S. citizen difficult? It is if you don't know anything about the U.S. Constitution or our country. What questions do they ask? You're going to get 100. You're going to have there's a test. Okay, there's a 128 question test, and out of the 128 questions, they're going to pull 20 questions, and out of the 20 questions, you have to get 12 right. So make sure you watch my video that I made on the U.S. citizenship test. I made a video about it. Okay? I made a video on how to study for U.S. citizenship. Every question they can ask you, I asked the question with the answer. If you watch that video a few times, then you're going to know how to do the U.S. citizenship test. Make sure you don't get in trouble with the police. No speeding tickets, nothing, zero, nothing. Make sure that you don't leave the United States. Make sure that you get involved in the community somehow. Maybe start a business. Karina started her coffee company, her t-shirt company. She started her own coffee company. I don't know what the website. This is the website. This is her website. Karina, I think this is it. Coffee.us. KarinaRossCoffee.us. That's Karina's website. She started a coffee company. She's on the board of directors doing different things. She's volunteering different things. Adams Michael Fellows, really, I'm going to watch the U.S. citizenship test video. Yeah, I made the video on how to become a U.S. citizen. I asked, there's 128 questions, okay? I have given you all the questions, and I've given you all the answers. If you memorize all the questions, and if you memorize all the answers, you're going to pass the U.S. citizenship test. I already did the legwork for you. I made it happen. Okay? I did all that. It took me like all day to make that video, but it was important. All right? And another thing, if you join as a member, I think that's where it is. It's like somewhere on here. If you join as a member, you get my email address and phone number. Then you can call me, text me, and message me whenever you want. I've been answering questions at 10 o'clock at night for some people because they're having emergency immigration questions. Copperhead. Copperhead's a member of this channel. How long a time is it to get citizenship for fiance? It takes 3 years from the issue date of the 2-year green card. So look at your 2-year green card. Look at the issue date. When was it issued? Now, Karina's 2-year green card was issued June 27th, 2024. So 2025, 2026, 2027. So June 27th, 2027, Karina is eligible for U.S. citizenship. But first, she has to lift the conditions off of her 2-year green card for her 10-year green card, which she's going to do. I think we're going to wait. I think we're going on vacation in May. So I think we'll file for her 10-year green card like right before we go on vacation. So that way we don't get a letter for her biometrics while we're on vacation. I don't want to be on vacation somewhere, not in Florida, and then all of a sudden we get a letter from immigration telling us she's got to go to her biometrics. And we're somewhere else. That would really suck. So right before we leave for vacation, then we're going to file her 751. So then that way I know for sure we're not going to get a biometrics letter in the mail while we're gone. Adam Michael Fellows, is this video on your YouTube page? How long ago did you make the U.S. citizenship video? Yeah, it's on this YouTube channel. If you go into this YouTube channel and it says, look for videos across the channel or something like that, type in there U.S. citizenship video or U.S. citizenship test. And type in there like U.S. citizenship, like this. How do you spell that? U.S. citizenship test. Type that in the channel where it says search across the channel, and it will go to the video for you. I made a video that is, I ask 128 test questions and I give the answers to 128 test questions. And that is the exam. It's open book for you guys. It's open book for you guys. Okay. And let me check and see if it's in the members only videos. If it's in the members only videos, you won't be able to find it. I'll go ahead and make it public again so people can watch it. But it took me all day to make the video. Okay, guys, I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go grab something to eat. That would help my wife a lot. Thanks for making the video. I'll go ahead. I'm going to log off the live stream. I'm going to go check the members videos and see if I blocked it and see if it's a members video. If it is, I'll make it public. And then that way you can watch the video and then you can learn how to prepare for U.S. citizenship. And today is what? Saturday, June 10th, 2026. And I'll be back on Monday, hopefully with Karina. She's not too tired. See you guys at the next live stream. And thank you for hanging out.